Yes, go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So good afternoon, everyone. I know it's a Friday and normally people would go outside and enjoy the sun and the weekend, but very happy to have the speakers and all of you joining the webinar today. So we have been hosting the webinar since November last year until now, and we have gone through a lot of topics like how to build personal branding, how to integrate into Norwegian working environment. And now, and I think it's also a good topic to mention here is that how it's for you as a job, international job applicant, identify which companies could be not suitable for you in terms of the working culture. So the main topic of the webinar today is um, finding a good company culture fit beyond the job description thing. So here we have the two speakers, one amazing guy from Nordea and another from the employee perspective who's gonna share with you all the experience or their stories that they have gone through and what we can improve our job application process later on. Yeah, so very lovely to have you have been our speakers today. Yeah. Okay. So the first question give, I would ask to both speakers are like, what they think about certain phases in the job application process. Would these phases could be seen as red flag? For example, in the whole job application process, you have the CV the job description thing, and then you move to the CV screening and to the online assessment, initial interview with HR, and the final interview. So from the um, company perspective and from the employee's perspective, would these phases be seen as a red flag for you if I can start with Paul. Maybe Paul can start first.
Yeah, I am from Nordea, and I work with diversity and inclusion within group people in Nordea. I've been working many years in this company in the Nordics, and being a leader for many years, and I recruited lots of people, and also international people in that sense, cross all markets. So I'm quite experienced in doing that. And what I'm now, when I now work with D&I, that we call diversity and inclusion, I'm trying to make a more inclusive recruitment process and an inclusive hiring process. I suddenly see that we are not good enough in some areas on that. So that means that we have different phases. So we are doing a lot to do with bias trainings for all recruiters and leaders. If you see what I mean. So we all have biases that we are. So make sure to be transparent and open and reflect on all parts of the application process, if you understand what I mean. So not taking, so that's a red flag that if you are a foreign applicant into the Nordic market, you have a different name, it could biases towards that, in fact, on that level, if you understand what I mean. So it's all the way in that sense. At the same time, we have heavily many international employees in Nordea. We have 107 nationalities in Nordea. So the possibility to be an international applicant into the Nordea bank is quite possible, since we have a lot of international employees, and also a need to have a broad and diverse set of team members in that sense. But if you apply, we start with a startup meeting. We apply, of course, and then we have a startup meeting between the hiring leader. Do you understand what I mean? The hiring leader, and then the talent acquisition person that we talk about. So that help out with recruitment, and they work together and try to assess what do we need here. So if one candidate in Nordea leaves and we replace that candidate, there is where it starts, all of you, in a way. So the point is, we need to make sure that we can be open and try to make sure that we can get a broad spectrum of candidates into our work application base here. Meaning that you shouldn't copy paste the person leaving. You should review what do you have of resources, how diverse is your group already. And when I talk about diversity, I mean a broader spectrum of diversity. So I mean, of course, it is nationalities or the cultural part, the cross-cultural part, where is that set up? What type of ages are there, genders and so on, and also disabilities even. So the point is to review that and see if it is possible to have some other aspects into the working environment in that team. So that's what we do. We also go heavily into the screening process to see who is applying, what is the capabilities and the competence that the person has, and who will go forward with. So that's also a red flag area that we need to secure to do in a good way to screen based on objective uh, areas, if you understand what I mean. Do you understand? Not biases, but objectivity, and that's we are doing better and better. That's why also people say maybe we should use our AI in the first round of applications just to have an overall. Do you understand what I mean? But that's also tricky. That's another discussion. But it's a flag on it anyway. And then we have the interview that we also make sure that people feel included in all aspects. Talking about which type of language we should speak, and also, of course, if people have any hidden disabilities like dyslexia or whatever, that we need to do different tests and so on. If you understand what I mean. So that's also and we showcase that in our website that we are quite open and transparent on these issues. So hopefully that will help. A long wording from me, but it's nice to just share the thoughts around it.
Yeah. Good, good, good. Iska, I love the point that you are sharing the fact that because like for us, we are international, we don't have Norwegian names because so if we send the CV, if we use our real name, for example,
Mm.
it somehow leads to our bias thing. And what we are as international job applicants, we normally discuss like should we change it to at least
Yeah.
English name to make it like more English, more international rather than keep it like our authentic name that we are using. So what do you think about this point of view? Like should we keep it? Should we change it? Or is it our name will affect the chance that we will get into like let's say the online assessment round?
Mm. But I'm not sure how to respond to that really. Of course, you shouldn't change the name. How you should be your whole self and be yourself with all you are in a way in that process. Saying that, we know, and I've been talking to people around in my role here, and I'm quite shocked really. I've been to some conferences and talked to people that have changed names, changed into Norwegian name in the starting point or whatever, and combined it to make it more easy. And suddenly, it was a she was invited to interviews by doing that, and that shows that we are not. I'm not talking about Nordea now, but in general, shows that we have biases on names in that sense, and
Mhm.
also, and I don't think it is. It is maybe unconscious. It's not that we are. It's unconscious. That's the tricky part. That's what we need. Why we need to have these reflections around it to take a step back. Maybe have like a resource group around you. Do you understand what I mean? So if I'm hiring as a leader, I don't do it myself together with HR or good people in that sense. I take with me maybe through other reference people in that are totally different than me, maybe another nationality, another age, gender, whatever, and talk to them. It's a bunch of 2 3 people to see review what should we do about these applicants. What do you feel? And then we can go through based on the of course the criteria. Of course, they need to be suitable for the work. That's the first point. But so we don't take these biases and decide based on that. If you understand what I mean. But I can't say that you should change your name. But I know that it's been done lots of tests on this, and it shows that people with more regular names was invited instead of these with the international names
Yeah, yeah.
in the recruitment process in Norway. In Norway. Mm.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, there's no right or wrong answer in this one, but now we know one more factor, like
Yeah.
we have name bias in
Mm. We have
Norwegian
name
job
bias.
market. Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's
I
that
would say we are. It's not. We can't say that this is the case, but we know that it is in several recruitment processes. It is. We can't say nothing. It is, of course. So
yeah,
that's quite bad, really. Mm.
yeah. And from the employee perspective, who went a lot of job application process, like start from the scratch, what do you think about this, Satan?
I do have a comment on that one on the changing name or not changing name. To be honest, we all agree that names is our identity.
Mm.
We can't just go from one day being fun to pull.
No,
Um,
we can't read it now. No.
yeah. Even I mean, even if you have like even if I change my name to Paul Newgord now, I show up to the interview the day after. It's like you are not Paul.
No.
So it's not sugarcoating. Is there's no way that can hide or can um, take away the identity, the true self. So what I would say is that changing name or not, it a matter of fact, it may affect your chance of being called into interview, but also mind the companies that look at your name and decide to not evaluate you further based on your name. It doesn't worth it. It's not
No.
worth it to even pursue with that company either. So forget it. Go out there. There are a lot of fishes in the sea. That is point number one. Point number two from my side is that to be honest, you see that I have my last name here, Nygård. There's no way Nygård is a Vietnamese name. I have adopted my husband's last name, keep my entire name, so it's Thanh Huệ Nguyễn Nygård, and it since I changed my name after the marriage, I was able to go into more interviews. But the takeaway is that it's a combination of efforts. It's a combination of multiple actions that lead to that result, which is graduating from a British university with an A result, or it may be a result, it is combined result of being able to speak Norwegian fluently and have some proof for it. It's a combination of having go out there and get to know people and have built a very large network. So really, job applicants, we cannot just rely on changing our name and then being called into interview. That's my point. It's a combination of multiple effort to lead us where we want to be.
But also besides the name, when you from the employee, from the applicant perspective, when you read the job description, normally a lot of job descriptions would describe the job like working in fast-paced environment, stress resistant. Do you consider as like a signal of the red flag, or what do you think about it?
The answer is yes.
Mhm.
The job description can tell a lot, and at some point, you were the one who mentioned it. That yeah, we are like we needed the chance, we needed opportunity. We just need our one quarter of the foot into the labor market. So we literally just go out there and take anything that throw at us.
Yeah.
But eventually, there is a few opportunities or a few job description that should be scanned, and you can see it quite clear. You mentioned what was the word you mentioned? Stress resistant, fast.
Yeah, fast-paced. Yeah,
Yeah.
challenging. Yeah.
I would recommend that seek also for the content, not just the surface, the facade of the words itself, but there are job descriptions that describe the person that they're looking for, like a superhero, like a Wonder Woman. Like you can do so many things in so many
True.
expertise level. You may be an intern, but you have worked for 5 years in this in a certain industry. And another thing, I say, for example, you are reading a job description for being a consultant, going into project management or going into innovation, but then they're asking for the skills in sales. They're asking that you are able to sell. What are you selling? You're gonna have to sell yourself. You're gonna have to find your own customers. And the minute that you don't have your customers, you're out. So those are the red flags that I could really flag it up. But then just one last note from me, a very long answer for a short questions, is that fast pace is good for some people.
I agree.
So start with your values, start with your life situation, where you are, what can you take, what are you willing to take, and then look for the one that align with your values. That's what I did.
Yeah.
I have one comment.
Yeah.
Too. I was wondering how far we can trust the job offer, to the job definition, because you have sometimes this job definition when they ask a lot of things, and at the end of the job definition they will say, oh, but if you don't have, you can still apply. So you have this contrast between we want a lot of things, but anyway, you can still apply if you don't have none of them. So it's very confusing. And at the end, you don't know exactly what they really want. You know, I think it's what the most important in a job offer. What do the company wants exactly? What is most important for them? Normally, for sure, everything is organized by, let's say, the most important at the beginning and the least important at the end. But it seems like sometimes you don't know exactly what is the offer about.
You mean that the job ad is a bit unclear?
I mean, it's the opposite. It's very clear, but at the same time, you have this different message. You know, if you read until the end, you will understand that finally, what is the most important and for who. You have a definition of the jobs that will be very clear, and have some different message contradictory to that. You know, I feel like sometimes you have this imposter syndrome. You feel like just by reading it that you don't fit in it, when in fact you are totally a good fit for it. I don't know if you understand my question. Like, how can we make people being more involved or understand more the job offer? Because for a lot of people, a job offer can have so many different interpretation, such as the culture. You know, why do you want to work in this company? Oh, is it because of the culture? But the culture is on the website. You don't know what is the culture. It's just something that is written on the website. Is it really like that?
Yeah, I understand because should I try to grab some of the content here in some way? But the point is that I also experienced that some of the job ads are overall really it varies. The quality of these job ads from all companies really it varies a lot, and it's lots of red flags on how they are produced and what and the content of it, and it's more maybe more both on the if you skip all about the bad grammar and vague job descriptions and so on, take more the professional ads and professional companies. If you can do it like that, it's more easy, I would say, and I will urge to connect to try to review the job ad. What are they asking for? What type of capabilities do I have that supports what they are asking for? And also, how can I figure out much more about this? One thing is to go to the website and see if it is like the political overall communication that are really is it connected to real life or not, as you're asking about, but or is it more? And then some of companies, and we also have in fact the life in Nordea, so we can see video clips of people talking about roles and their work we're working within the company, if you know what I mean, trying to describe the values, how we collaborate, how we connect, and so on, to make it much more personal and much more interesting for people to see, and that they can feel connected to, if you understand what I mean. So I think it's and you can also challenge if you get the possibility to go to interviews to try to ask the people you meet to elaborate much more and be concrete as you do now, and concretely to the concrete job you're applying for. But it is I hope that people don't just write job ads that are not really true in that sense. I don't feel that I really the only thing I when I review our own job ad is that it's a bit corporate language. You understand? A bit much more corporate than it really is. We are of course very corporate, but we are a big bank. But we could have maybe a bit more inclusive language, more easy language, more less text. You understand what I mean? And less and be more concrete. And not being several pages long. I don't like that several pages long job ads, which it should be much shorter, if you understand what I mean, to grasp it more easy, and also for people to be more interesting on the top level sentence instead of reading through. Do you understand what I mean? So you should see the top sentence, Hensley, and then you said, "Shit, this is a job I would like to," because you see the teaser in the front. Understand? This is, and then you can read through, and then you see it follows you through. Then you know this is a way to go and to apply for.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, another question that I would love to ask the speakers is that when you read the normally job description, they won't advertise that all companies mention about work-life balance, but in fact, that's not always the case. So So how a candidate can assess like how true or how reliable the information is. Maybe we can start from Tan first to see how you see this question. Yeah.
Yes, just wanted to mention that Reno just raised his hands.
Yeah.
Reno?
No, it's okay. I didn't want to. Yeah. I thank you. Really sharing those insights. You know, I coming from the United States, I have a comment and a question. I just thought I'd kind of throw it out there to hopefully you guys can share some thoughts about this. I noticed that when I was in the United States, when I applied for jobs, I never, ever, first thing is to go to the jobs website and apply so for example, if I'm looking for work at Nordea, I probably would not go to nordea.no, application, submit my information. I try to find out who is my hiring manager. Let's say Paulo is you. I try to find out your email address and I send you a direct message email directly. And normally from there, I feel like I get my foot in the door already. They say, hey, let's have a cup of coffee. That's to me is an interview, right? We don't talk about that, but it's an informal interview. I already got my foot in the door. And along the way, when I'm finding out who the right decision maker is, let's say, Paul, you're a recruiter, you might like my profile, have a cup of coffee with me, and then pass it on to my sales manager or a manager for that specific department. That's usually when I submit the application. And that's how I kind of find a way of, excuse my American, but like cut the line, but also get my foot in the door, knowing that I don't have a Norwegian name and I don't speak a Norwegian at the moment. But in a way, they already see my resume because they're talking to me and they're seeing my face. And Hensley, I think I hope I didn't butcher your name, but one of the questions I've heard a few times, and that's the question I have for everybody as well. I feel that a lot of companies, they cannot give you direct answers. You know, and I could understand why from that standpoint, like, hey, work-life balance. A lot of the times I feel like they'll dance around the question or dance around the answer. So I think it's up to you to ask smart questions, but without being direct, right? So today, if I were to find out, can you tell me a little bit more about the work-life balance? I can't imagine a company's gonna go, we have terrible work-life balance. I don't think they're gonna say that. But I think it's important for you to ask questions like, hey, could you tell me what time do you get off work? Tell me about a project that you worked on that was really difficult. How did you deal with, you know, things like that. But that's my American way of thinking. I love to throw the ideas out there to you two who are more experienced. Answer a little bit about my question. And I think by answering that question, you probably answer a lot of people's question about, for example, work-life balance, job description. I'm curious about what you two think about this. So pause. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, I'm not. I would like to reply, but I will wait because I'm not sure if it's your turn, Tal, I think.
Yeah, I was saying, Ricardo here sent a question and say, does that work for you, Reno? I've heard multiple times that it's far too aggressive for Norwegian work culture, and also I have a response to that as well. Yeah, it is quite aggressive for Norwegian, and you know what? I tried that as well multiple times, and you know what? Sometimes we gotta go quantity over quality, because when you sound like 10, 20 invitation, there's someone come back, and that someone is a good gold person. That is gold, and that one person is a person that you wanted to hold on to. Not like stalking around, of course. Don't do that. I didn't say that. But I mean, you gotta go quantity. It's okay for people to be reserved, you know, nowadays with internet and all. Yeah. But to not redirect too far away from Hannah's question and the webinar program, Hannah, you asked me a question about how to identify work-life balance. A huge shout out to Reno for that answers of yours, saying that we've got to do I forgot the line of thought, but I never read just the job description is not enough. Just like Ron just said, it's not enough to just go onto the website and look for the job post, but a lot of research behind the scene that needs to be done. So what I did was to reach out, not sometimes not directly to the hiring managers, but also some people that you have, say, the first level, the second level of connection on LinkedIn. And I would reach out and I would say, sometimes people don't like strangers reaching out asking for favors. So to be honest, you cannot expect people to give you anything before you have proven yourself or before you have given them something. So I would, in another way, say, hey, I'm very interested in your company. I'd love to hear more about this and that. And then I ask my questions. And just like you said, how is the work culture like? What time do you get off work? How's the projects being done? Another thing is I would look for company scandals. The thing I love about Norway is that it's very transparent. Even the smallest case of somebody have cheated at their master essay, that will be flagged up as well. So really just dig deep, just be a detective and Google just your way all the way through, learning about that company, anything that you can find on the internet, work-life culture it is. And then what I would do also is to look at the turnover, the roles, because what you can do is on the company website, the job post will be taken away, but on LinkedIn, even when it's not active anymore, you can still find those job applications, job advertisements, both on LinkedIn, on Fin, on multiple other sites. The job posts are still there. So if you see the same post for the same team, for the same manager that keep posting all over and over again, you know there's something wrong with it. Yeah. So there's a way of going around, just find information. The whole gist behind it is to make yourself informed, to be an informed decision maker in choosing the company you wanted to work with.
I support you in that, Sanna. And I also think the Reno's comments, I really liked your comments. And my intention of asking you to go to the website and review and go through everything there wasn't that was the only search you should do. Of course, you need to do something else. And if you, with your personality and will contact the immediate leader or whatever by mail or calling, or know someone within the company, that's of course always an add-on to do that. I totally support that approach, really. And also, I think the company page, the webpage, can also say a lot about things. I think since I've been working with the diversity and inclusion setup here, I think that I see in front of me here, we have, for instance, life at Nordea. You can go through and see, and it's not a bragging thing. It's more like, it is what it is. I recognize everything that is there. It is what it is. So that's, but you don't know that, of course, because you think it is a brand video or whatever. But it's not really. It's there. So we describe our culture. We describe how we can grow and train and learn stuff on the way. We are collaborating. It's not that we are stressing people out. We have live faces. It's a totally different time now. When I was a bit younger and got kids and so on, now people are getting kids in the late 40s, for God's sake. So life phases is totally different. So the point is that people have different needs in different time phases, life phases, and we need to make sure that you can live your life, your personal life, in combination with working life in a super way. That's the whole idea. We don't need people that are working 24/7 or that works every evening or that are struggling with the balance, the life balance. They are burned out within a few months. Do you understand what I mean? So we need to. This is a sustainable working environment for the future. So you need to have a balance in your working life and personal life, of course. And and we are not communicating, as I know, with these wordings in our job ads. We are quite strict in this on the collaboration part, working together, team-wise collaboration, and so on, all the way in every aspect. Of course, we have stressful times. Of course, we should have that because it's demanding task sometimes, but it shouldn't kill you in that sense being burned out based on that. If you know what I mean, you can get lots of support, and we are lots of people to collaborate and so on. Also, so that's. But I think you are right. It's a red flag if it is these wordings that you briefly mentioned. It's nice to go through them and see that I'm not using this. We are a young environment. We are totally grown up and experienced and using the wrong terms on this and so on. So I think that's important to see when you apply that this is it's a red flag.
Yeah, that's very insightful. But like, shout out to Reno also. Like, your questions, like, it shouldn't be the way that maybe the same question, the same purpose of we asking to get the desired information, but the way we formulate the question, get the the true answer that we are looking for. Because if you ask like, how is the working environment in your company, everyone was like, okay, our working environment is really good. We have this, we finished this one, we have Friday taco thing, but there's going to be more than that when you analyze the working life balance here. Like, how is your deal with when you have stress, or like if you're overtime, is get paid or something. Yeah, it's the way you formulate the question. And coming to the last question, the compensation and benefits. Do you think that these things, for example, salaries or the package, should be included in the job advertisement, so everything could be as transparent as possible, or should we communicate it at the end stage of the hiring process? So, what do you think about it, Paul?
Yeah, what I think, I'm not sure if I can say what I think, but what we are doing, I can say something. What we are doing, we are not transparent very in our hiring process as in the job ad. In fact, we are competitive on salary. We have individual agreements. We also have a collective setup, collective agreements. You know that with the unions and so on. Individual salary, but we have collective agreement on how this should be done, with maybe levels and so on, that are quite transparent. So you can see the job, what you call that, the salary span, not the salary span, the salary levels from starting point to full, yeah, all the way. But it's not typed in what level you will get in the job ad in that sense. That's because it's a bit complex, really. It's also it's based on your competence. It's based on the candidate competence. It's based on the level of the job description. It's different levels of job descriptions within one area. Do you understand what I mean? Like from a junior to a massive senior expert, whatever, as an example. And that could be various type of persons you are choosing to take into your team, overall team. Do you understand? So we don't type that in really in that sense. In Denmark, for your information, there it is transparent. There we have levels in the job descriptions. In Denmark, it is different community there. But
So
that's
it's more
local.
based on the country that you are
Yeah,
recruiting.
but it's the only country in Nordics that has it transparent. That's Denmark. The rest are not transparent.
Oh, okay.
But I don't think I should say what I would like to. I would. That's totally different. It doesn't. It's not relevant, is it?
Let's have a coffee afterwards where you can say everything.
Yeah, but it's a nice we have a very good dialogue really with people when we are asking also what you expect and so on, and we also have a frame around it and trying to map up a competitive good salary for each and every employee that we take in. Relevant one.
And how about you? And like when you read a job advertisement, do you expect to read, or do you expect it to read also the salary or the compensation package along with that before you apply for that? So you're gonna, okay, if I get into this job, this is the amount of salary I will gain. So I will see, okay, whether is this worth for me to give it a go, or what do you think about it? Or should we just try and to see the end result and we can negotiate after that?
This is a good question. I believe that when you ask this to people, there will be a multiple. They may be. You may divide the population either of Norway or the world into two groups. One asking for transparency and one asking for no transparency. Appreciate the response from Paul. And to be honest, I'm pro Paul now. Meaning I'm supporting the idea, or I'm supporting the practice of not publishing salary specific numbers or even salary range on a job description. But I do support putting up the compensation benefits that is generic, that is non-monetary. Say, for example, you have lunch benefit, you have health care, all of that should be transparent so that people can see what they can, because those are important too, especially when you live in anyway, it's especially when you're looking for a job. It's not just money that matters, but the reason why I would say I would support for not posting the salary or salary range on job description is because of threefold. Number one, when I apply for job, I don't just think for myself. Being an entrepreneur, being in a company owner previously, and now, I think for the company benefit itself. Now imagine how a number on a job description can literally destroy the company, the organization development, the company, the work culture, the collaboration between a team or a company itself. Imagine they're hiring for the same job, but one job description was posted in 2024 and one was posted in 2020. I mean, the money has changed a lot. The life expense has changed. Expenses has changed a lot. So you cannot literally compare apple to apple in this case. But some people do. Some people without enough insight into the market or enough understanding of the role itself may see that, oh, why is it the same job? But that person joined just 4 years before me. They get more. That's not fair. I don't want to work with that person, but I need the job anyway. So I go in, I literally just destroy that person that having the same title just as me. That is number one. Number two is that imagine a role that is not, I mean, everybody work situation or life situation is very different. Everybody has different needs. Say, for example, a mother of a young child would need the flexibility of getting off work earlier than usual, or having a longer lunch, or having flexibility with where she worked from. And hence, she agreed on going down on the number, but then accepting the work, a more flexible work benefits. And that is very customized to her. That is something that you cannot just literally dump everything on a job description. That will be too much. So those should be negotiable. So the number should not be there and make it a barrier for that kind of negotiation that goes on, that will go behind the scene. And the last response to this, I think that numbers should not be on the job description also because of the geographic locations of, especially to companies that span across the globe. That will literally just destroy the company in the long run when you compare between what a company, a project manager in Norway is earning, and then the project manager sitting in India or sitting in other parts in the Asian part of the world, putting up and start talking about it, comparing it when they work together. It's not good for work collaboration at all. So that's my answer.
Thank you. I have the same reflections on the last one.
I would like to maybe a challenge for you, Paul and Pen, on this part. We did a survey earlier, and 70% of the participants answered that they would want transparency about pay range on a job ad. And also that's because if your budget, let's say 700,000 for position, but this person is actually looking for million, then there's already mismatch, right? And that save the time, submitting applications, go to 3 interview rounds, 2 test rounds, only to find out, okay, the salary doesn't match the expectation. And also, so what do you think about this? Like, in terms of employer branding, this is what candidates are looking for, pay transparency. So that's the question to you, Paul. And the question to you, Tan, is of course going back to like if in case of no pay transparency, so how do you ensure that people are actually getting paid the same for the same work that they do? Because we know that, for example, women get paid less than men for the same tasks and responsibilities. And also, for example, people with immigrant backgrounds tend to get paid less than people with like native Norwegians. So maybe Paul, you can go first and then Pen.
Yeah. Okay, but I don't think it is a system outside the public offices or the government or the commune, if you know what I mean, that are showcasing or showing the salary span, the salary levels. No private company are doing that in Norway. It's not a culture for that in Norway at all, in that sense, even though the service says that you should have it. Of course, it's a need. I will also reply yes on that if I could choose, because then I can apply much easier on jobs because I know what the levels are. But I don't think it is difficult to try to align that early in the project, if you know what I mean, if you're a relevant candidate in that sense. To figure out what kind of level, so it's not that mismatch in that sense. Trying to ask if that's an important factor to you, that you are afraid to lose 300,000-400,000 in that process. I would just ask, And I know you shouldn't really come into a first meeting and ask for salary. That's not the point. The point is to try to align it with some relevant people within the system that you're talking to, I would say. But also I think it will come some regulations from EU maybe on this also for the Europe market maybe. So let's see what's happened during the next years. Maybe we will be surprised what will happen. So I think it will maybe have some regulations around it that will also help out on maybe have a bit more transparency than it is today overall, not from our sector as such, but overall, if you understand what I mean.
Um,
Yeah,
Should I-
please go ahead.
Yes, thank you for that, Paul. And I agree with you when Paul, you mentioned that if money, if the compensation, monetary compensation is very important to me, I just ask. I mean, there is a culture asking women to be less apologetic and be assertive. There is a culture that asks for women to be more humble, to be more woman-like. And to be honest, I go for the first. So I'm a very assertive person. If I wonder about something, I will ask. I would not accept myself going to 2-3 interviews rounds, asking a lot of questions, going through a lot of case interviews without knowing exactly how much I will get. Because eventually we need to cover our expenses, especially when we live in Norway. That's number one. But again, going back to Reno, it's not about what we ask. Yes, it's about what we ask, but how we ask it as well. So would you just put it on the table and say, hey, I want to know how much you're paying me before I go forward with the interview, compare with one of the main reasons that help me decide which company I work with, or how much I can put, you can rephrase it, how much I could put into the job, then I need to be able to cover my expenses in my life. So may I know what is the salary range that you're having for this specific position? I would ask that, because literally every single interview towards the end, they will ask you, do you have any other question for us? I mean, if we come to the interview, we don't have any question for them, that just shows that we don't have any interest for that at all. But if we have a legitimate question that also reflect on our need and say that we really consider this position and envision ourselves working in this position, devoting to it while maintaining our life, that's reasonable. Yeah. So that's my answer to that. And the second question, that is a very good question, Mai. I mean, we talk about gender equality. We talk about equality across level, across the board. I agree with you. It's very important to make consideration that about that. But again, the job description alone, the number alone, is not enough to already tell us or to change the equity and equality a company would do for a person. Because imagine a woman going to this role, a man going to this role, or a Norwegian versus a foreigner, there can always be a side note or one more condition in the contract, in the job contract, saying, oh, because you're Norwegian or because you're white man, you're going to get 50,000 or 500,000 more in bonus. That can always happen. I mean, the number alone on the job description is not enough. So what I would say is, urge you, if you're a job applicant, look into yourself. What do you have? What is your value? Look for information about salary statistic. If you have analyzed and you see, you evaluate yourself above the average, aim for the high level, even there. They're looking for a business executive, and you know that you're worth $1 million. Go in there and say, I am worth $1 million. Can you afford me or not? Yeah. So what I mean is that look at what I would say, I would look at what I can offer, and then put that into the monetary amount before I comparing myself with what my counterpart is earning. Yeah. Did I answer your question?
Yes, thank you. You did answer the question. I think Hensley has a question.
Yeah, I think it's quite interesting what you were saying, Don. But I think all these questions we have are related to the trust. How can we trust a company or a job offer or a human resource manager to treat us the way we feel we are? You understand? I have this value. How do I know that this person will recognize this value? And so we have all these questions about the salary, about the life balance, about everything. And from the moment we start to have to apply or to be in this interview, we need to be what can I say? We need to feel to be trusted, you know, and it's very complicated sometimes when you don't know the person, you don't know the company, to establish this trust relationship.
So
So I think the number should be there. You know, it's a way to make people feel confident. You know, like okay, they are already considering this job position as at this level, because when you come from nowhere, you don't know. For example, you need something to grab to feel like it's something that is for you.
No, I value your feedback there, Hensley. Just one note there. I'm not. I wanted to pick up on the part, you know, you mentioned about how do we know, how can we trust a company when it is us getting to know them as well. So I think it's very important to also consider the interview process as a date, a blind date between the applicant and the recruiter. Like it's not we are not on the table being grilled by them, they are being grilled by us as well. So both is sorry my language, I'm going very casual here, but what I'm saying, being grounded, is that during the interview process we can really also assess the company that we're interviewing with. I know it's very little time to decide whether this is the person or the company that we wanted to get married to. But being observant and really keeping eyes and ears out for how they behave and how your answers are asked, literally. And also that's why we have a probation period, which is also a two-way traffic probation period for the company to assess the applicant or the new employee, and the other way around. Yeah.
A nice final comment.
Okay. Yes, we have a question from Ricardo in the chat. Besides learning Norwegian, any recommendation to someone who have over 25 years of experience who hasn't been able to secure a role after 8 months of interview? Maybe to Paul.
Yeah, 25 years of experience. It is tricky being an experience. I also have applied. I feel like maybe turning older also, the ages in part is a bit tricky to try to apply for correct jobs, that you're feeling that you're competing with younger people than you and so on. So who is the target group of these jobs that you are applying for? How relevant is it, and what kind of experience do you have that you are applying, and what type of companies are you applying for? That's and roles. Maybe that's one thing. To trying to broaden the perspective, talking to some recruitment companies and so on, trying to make sure to assess and review your CV to make it relevant, to optimize the CV work. If you haven't already done so, it's a good idea. And also mapping up what type of companies do you want to apply for. If you're saying it's everything just to get me a job, it's a bit tricky, because then you're not really into that company you're applying for. You need to want to work for a company. You would like to, I would like to work for them. This is an amazing company. I will add value to this. You need to, if I meet people that are not really understand what we're doing or would like to be there, why should I bother, really? You understand? So you need to be very, very much into the company you're applying for and the role in that sense, to and what kind of value you will add on, and how you can document that type of value. not meaning that you have been 25 years of experience, but you have been doing these and these tasks. The result of these tasks was that was the consequence, adding revenue of that, or adding customers of that, or adding whatever. So people can see very easily on your massive CV maybe that you have done relevant stuff supporting that they can hire you. Very shortly said. And also maybe try to figure out if you have some network that you can engage with in the topic of direction of the job that you are working for.
Thank you.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Yes. Maybe Thanh, do you want to add anything based on your own experience?
Yes. 25 years. Well, I didn't have that much experience, 25 years, but I did have around 15 years when I started to look for jobs here in Norway, and it took me around approximately 2 years to land some small jobs, and like a job with like lower percentage of work, projects work. And it took me 4 years to actually get back into corporate working in large organizations again. So the answer is that it's a number game. Being a number, meaning literally just go out as much as possible, send out as much as possible, of course, to those that align with the capability, the competency, and the values, the work culture that you're searching for. Like Paul just mentioned earlier, do a skill gap analysis even, and analyzing, find down a company that fits. But what I mean is that all that shouldn't end up in an analysis paralysis, which means we just sit there and we analyze company and not taking the action to actually search for those jobs. The number from my side to get into large corporation again after 4 years was 300 job applications and 64 interviews. I took note of everything. I love lists. I might have some OCD, but yeah, that's what I did. 300 job applications, and really, I didn't just apply to 250 cleaner or canteen jobs, and then the rest is what to the work that I wanted to do. I mean, everything was relevant job, but eventually I get only 64, and eventually I landed a company that I'm very, very happy with. So it's a number game, really.
And also one input, sorry, but now I think too late, but also input to you that we're talking about the 25 years also. Don't lose faith. Try and try, because the average time I think is 9.5 months between jobs in that age. If you are, I'm thinking you are 20, maybe you're 45, 50, 55, whatever. It's 9 months up to a year. That is an average time of changing jobs. If you don't have a job and you're taking a new one, that's the average time. So it's below yet. So maybe you have a lucky time now during the next couple of months.
Yeah.
Can I just mention to Melina Kello? I guess that question addressed to me, but I need to go run and pick up my son now from school. But you're very welcome to just connect with me on LinkedIn, and I'll have a decent reply to you. I did change a lot in my job search process, and there is a certain set of initiatives that I can suggest.
Yeah. So feel free to reach Thanh if you want to have higher chance to in the job search process.
And reach for Paul for job in Nordia.
Job for Nordia, yes.
Yeah, I'm on LinkedIn if you would like to talk and chat on the sides separately. So just do that. I will do that video, of course, during next week if needed.
Okay.
I think
yes,
we are over time. Go ahead, Hannah.
Yeah, but I think like my side, I think we over time, but thank you very much for very, very useful sharing from Paul and Thanh. I learned a lot from this one. It helps me a lot with my job searching process in the upcoming months when I officially graduate. So and good luck
with that, Hannah. Good luck with that,
luck.
Hannah.
Yeah, good luck to me and good luck to everyone out there looking for a job also. So if